following is a presentation of 4-Star Sports Media.
There we go. I love technology sometimes. Otherwise, it's going to break all the time. What's up, everybody? This is Zach ZK Kerr alongside my co-host and broadcast partner, Marcus MC Carlton. You are coming live tonight from the Sidecar Cafe Arena Studios. But we like to call it Arena because we are wrestling fans. It is the late night edition for most of us of the Falls Count Anywhere show, brought to you by Sidecar Cafe from Memphis. Rick Haygood and company take great care of us here at 4-Star Sports Media, and we are very thankful for him. Go check him out. There's your one-stop shop for all things sports and great food. They've got great drink specials, watch parties. Football's coming up this fall, so you're not going to check them out. They got the wall of TVs, and you never know. 4-Star might pop in there live. So go check them out. They're in the heart of Memphis. All of our addresses are on the 4-Star Sports Media page. Woo! All right. We've got that out of the way, MC. I'm kind of throwing off my game because we're a little late tonight.
Yeah, we're doing the after hours special tonight.
Right? What is this, like Falls Count Anywhere After Dark? Wait. No,
yeah.
No. That don't. Whoa. Can we edit that out? Can I go back and say that?
Fix it post. Fix it post, man. Don't worry about it.
Don't ever let me say that again.
We'll do it again in 3, 2, 1. There you go.
I got nothing. Make sure you guys like, share, follow, and subscribe, and whatever else there is out there on social media. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight on our Facebook pages, 4-Star Sports Show, 4-Star Sports Media, and on the 4-Star Sports Media YouTube channel. And if you're not catching us there, then make sure you catch us live on other weeks. Tonight we're not live due to our late time, but we'll be back on regular schedule next week. And catch us there on our new 4-Star Sports Radio Network at 4star.live. You'll find links to all of our shows there, including some really kick-ass articles put out by Christian Johnston, Wes Pruitt, and all the guys there. All right, dude. So we're going to jump into WWE, and we've got a new segment at the end of the show tonight. I got something in my eyeball. We got a new segment at the end of the show tonight. It's our UFC update with Andy Manis. He's our UFC insider here at 4-Star Sports Media. Going to give us a new update on what's going on in the world of UFC. And I'm going to tell you now, before we jump into WWE, MC, I don't know jack crap about the UFC.
Now, here's what we're going to do. You know, they start the fight in the cage with a, let's get it on type deal. We're going to go a little old school and kind of ring the bell, because Andy's going to put school in session on us and teach us a thing or two tonight about MMA and what's going on right now.
I just thought of something. Because, we're only 3 episodes into the show. This is like our 3rd episode. Right. And, I'm coming up with ideas, and some of the ideas I get are just out of this world. But we try to avoid trademark and copyright. Do you remember the show from MTV years ago, Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes, absolutely.
You remember the referee? Yeah,
Mills Lane.
You remember the referee? Yeah. Let's get it on.
Yeah.
We need to add that in whenever Andy comes on the show from now on.
Yeah, we'll have to get the mad scientists in the lab at work and see if we can't get that figured out.
We're let me tell you something. We're 3 episodes in. We're still trying to get the train up on the track, so y'all bear with us.
We're doing the hand cart right now,
right? Look, when it comes down to it, my ass isn't shoveling the coal. So
yeah.
I'm
No,
putting that pedal to the floor, and I'm blowing through every line, every train, whatever the train does when they blow through the town. I don't know. Oh, we're
off
the
the
rails.
tracks early.
We're already off the tracks. So jumping into the WWE, we've got it is officially WrestleMania week. It's kind of the season finale for the 2021, early 2022 year. This is kind of where WWE kind of resets everything, storylines, feuds, and everything else. Monday Night Raw was last night, but a couple of days ago, there was a big news coming out of the WWE. And I thought it had already happened. I thought he had already done this many years ago after the disastrous showing at Super Showdown. But Triple H has finally retired. We are joined now. Let's see if we can get him in here. Brandon the Bumgarner. B, what's up, dude?
I'm here.
You're here?
We're
Sorry, I'm
glad
having a
for
little
it,
bit
man.
of a breathing problem right
No,
now.
you're good, man. Hey, trust me, we're all there. So we were just getting into it, Bum, about Triple H finally retiring from in-ring action, and he kind of did it. I don't know. For me, being an Undertaker fan, it kind of takes away from Undertaker's Hall of Fame on Friday, but he did it 30 years to the day that he debuted.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
he did it.
I don't think it takes anything away from the Undertaker. I mean, he did it a week before the Hall of Fame even happens. So, I mean, I could see where you're coming from with that. I like both Triple H and the Undertaker, but sorry guys, like I said, I'm having some respiratory problems.
Good, dude.
Had to get an inhaler, but yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that, but Undertaker's going to have this whole weekend is his. It's not Triple H. Triple H will have his probably next year, which he absolutely deserves. And it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan right now with everything going on.
It really is, and you've got to think. And again, y'all know me. I'm a big Undertaker fan, and judging by the shirt that I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm a Rock fan as well. Two totally ends of the spectrum. Oh, sit down. But
I'm too fat for wrestling shirts. Look at my profile picture.
Oh man, that is one for the record books there, Bum. That's all I can say to that is wow. But think of how many iterations Trips has gone through.
Oh man.
You know, when he first debuted with WWE, and I'm too young to remember him in WCW, but he comes out as this Frenchman, hoity-toity, snobby SOB in WWE. But the Mick Foley match with him is what really turned him into the game, did it not? I mean, what did you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the Jean-Paul Levesque
That's
was
the one.
his WCW character that was a little more snooty than the original Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He was supposed to be this big French Canadian aristocrat. So it was very similar to Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It was packaged just a little bit different, but by far, when he really cut loose, when he and Shawn got together and originally formed DX from the very beginning, you saw Triple H kind of go into another gear as far as becoming a little more likable, mainstream. He kind of had, before that, when he was doing the snooty, whatever aristocrat you want to call it, he kind of reminded me a little bit of William Regal, which he may have been doing kind of a tribute to Regal, because I know Regal is highly respected by almost everybody in the game. And it was, I couldn't, I mean, he had the go away heat for me until he became the DX version of Triple H.
Bum, what did you think?
Yeah, I think DX had his career take off. Don't get me wrong, he was a star before then, but he wasn't a superstar, so to speak.
Right.
So kind of piggybacking on what MC says is Sean and him, and I mean all of DX made him who he was. I mean, look, Shawn Michaels was already a absolute legend before DX ever happened. But I think Shawn Michaels is responsible for Triple H's career being at where it is right now.
100%. 100%.
Oh,
agree.
absolutely. I don't want to take away from either one of their single careers as far as Triple H and Shawn Michaels or Michael Higginbotham, which is still weird to me. But
yeah, it is.
You don't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You think of Triple H, you think of Shawn Michaels. You think of Shawn Michaels as a single superstar. You have the showstopper, the icon, Mr. Wrestlemania. The list goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
You put the two of them together, and it's comedic gold in my book.
Oh yeah, yeah. There, you talk about the comedy aspect of it. The promo that sticks out to me that just, I mean, literally had me doubled over in tears was the one with Sergeant Slaughter where they had the face masks and the whoppers. I mean, I can watch that. That's so iconic that I can watch it today and still just about laugh as hard, 25, almost 30 years later as I did when it first debuted.
The best one for me was when they mocked Vince and Shane. I'm dancing, Dad. I'm dancing.
Yeah. The one it's kind of controversial now because of the way society is now. But when they did the mock of the Nation of Domination,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is you gotta love the WWE Network on Peacock. And we're not getting paid by them. This is just a shameless plug because we're all fans here. You get to go back and watch some of this stuff and the antics, the go around they had with Little People's Court and Hornswoggle.
Oh my gosh.
The hunt for Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Some
of the stuff they did, looking back at it at the beginning of the Attitude Era, you look at it now and you almost want to cringe and be like, man, there's no way they could do that now. There's no way.
No. And that is a tribute to them because you even in the later versions of D-Generation X,
mm-hmm.
they changed with the way the times were.
Yeah.
But they still got away with a whole lot.
Exactly.
Yes.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Bum.
Yeah.
And they still brought it.
Yeah. Bum, would you say that they took the ruler and bent it just to the exact maximum you could bend it without breaking it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not like Vince could just say, "Hey, guys, we're PG on TV now. Let's dial it back a bit."
He tried.
I'm sure he did. But those two guys were. You're not going to tell them what to do. They're going to go out there and give the fans what the fans want. They don't care if it's on TV or not, and they're going to take their punishment after the fact. And the thing about Vince is, he's not going to sit there and say, "Oh, hey, you guys are suspended without pay." I mean, those are two of his biggest stars of all time.
Yeah,
it would literally be the equivalent of the Rock and Sock Connection getting suspended in the middle of the Attitude Era for going straight rated R.
Right.
So here's a question that just popped into mind. Y'all know how I am about random questions, so bear with me. We're gonna take this exit. We'll jump back up on the freeway in here in a second. You take DX out of Triple H's career. What have you got?
One of the best singles competitors of all time. Well, if we're talking like just his straight individual accolades, and he still turns into what he turned into post DX from what he was when he was Hunter Hearst at Helmsley. He's still a Hall of Famer. He's still one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Not to mention you have Evolution, which was just an incredible stable in itself. And I think Ric Flair also helped Triple H's career a whole lot as well.
Well, he credits Ric Flair. And Killer Kowalski.
Yes.
For training him.
And not only that, you got to think about Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, like helping
Yeah, the
him
Click.
get to where
I
he
mean,
was too. So
yeah, he was an integral part of the Click.
Yep, exactly. So I still think he's a Hall of Famer. I still think he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Even though he was getting down with the owner's daughter, that's and that I guess that kind of catapulted him into this category of
Yeah,
he
but at
is
the same
now.
time,
But
if you're going to list his accolades, Bum, you have to list the fact that he came up and created NXT. The original idea, the original idea for NXT, is Triple H.
Yes, yeah, and it's a shame. So now that we're getting more information about how bad off he was, and sick. I mean, dude almost died.
Yeah.
I mean, he straight up told everybody that on this, and like that made me like sad because I'm like, wrestling isn't the same without Triple H in it, regardless if he's in the ring or if he's not.
Well, with somebody like Trips, and of course you've got Road Dogg. I know him as Road Dogg. I can't remember.
Jesse James. Yeah.
Jesse James, but it's something Armstrong.
Brian Armstrong. Yeah, Brian Armstrong.
Having somebody backstage that has also been a performer in the ring is like having a football coach that actually has played the game of football. They know both sides of it, so they can help write it. Like Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is a genius. Love Paul Heyman. I hated
Paul
him years
Heyman might
ago.
be one of the best wrestling minds of all time.
Yes. But he is also one of the best managers of all time as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you think of wrestling managers, you think of him, Paul Bearer, guys like that. But yeah, this Triple H thing, like the news sucks, but like also he even told Stephen A. Smith in the interview, he was like, I'm still going to be around. I'm still going to be an exec. But I think we were all kind of shocked when the NXT thing got taken away from him. But now we kind of have a clear, a clear view of
we have
why
an understanding why.
Yeah.
I think Vince realized, hey, your health is more important than you running this brand. You can always come back to it at some point once you get healthy, but you have 3 daughters at home that are teenagers. You need to be there for them while they're still around and everything like that. And it also shows me that Vince McMahon does have a heart. It shows me that, and I mean, you could see that regardless. Even though he did fire his own son recently.
It turns out that he didn't actually fire Shane McMahon. And we're going to get into that later on.
Okay.
Just before the break, when we talk about WrestleMania, some news broke today that I started laughing at. But
yeah, but like, no, what I was saying is like it just shows that Vince has a heart and he's a family man and he cares about people deeply. And even though he comes off as this old ornery butthole, I can say ass on here. This old ornery asshole. He truly is a good guy down at heart, and he cares about the people that he loves.
Hey, MC, don't we know somebody like that?
Might ring a bell or two.
It's a real bummer that I can't pull the name out.
Well played.
Hey, I'm not old. I'm just an ornery asshole.
I mean, say what you want there, Bum. So, moving on to our next topic of the night. Monday Night Raw happened last night. It was the go-home show from the Steel City of Pittsburgh. And I don't know what to make of it, MC. I don't know how much you caught of it, but I will say Brock Lesnar is having the time of his life.
That's where I was going to start with this. This version of Brock Lesnar is by far my favorite. He's just, man, he just looks like he's loose and he's out there just having fun.
High-fiving fans. We've never seen this.
Yeah. Well, and last night, they started the whole what thing in the middle of his promo, and he's like, all right, that's fine. Y'all play along. Y'all want to play along like that? That's fine. and then he played off of it because they kept doing it and kept doing it. And instead of getting frustrated, he's like, yeah, Steve's going to be there too, and just kind of
But
played with it.
the best is he goes, yeah, Steve's a Texas ass kicker just like me. He never kicked my ass, but
yeah, that was great. Yeah.
The cool thing about this, Brock, is we know he's been around or with the business for nearly 20 years or over 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting to use the character, I think, that he should have been the entire time. Don't get me wrong, the whole Paul Heyman thing with him was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bully. He went out there and just did what he wanted to do to whoever he wanted to do it to. I mean, hell, he broke the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania.
Don't remind me.
But that shows you how much trust they have in him with this company. And that's how over he was at the time and still is today.
Yeah.
But let's talk about his mic skills for a second. Even 5 years ago, I don't think Brock could have got through a promo like that by himself without Paul Heyman being next to him. But this character has allowed him to be able to do that. And you really, 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 like, it's something you love to see because professional wrestlers are growing and evolving every single day. It doesn't matter how old they are or how long they've been in the business. They're learning something new every day.
Bum, let me ask you this.
We're seeing a Brock Lesnar that we've never seen before. And also, look, I know the guy can cut a promo. I watched his MMA fights for years. I love the UFC. My favorite memory. Sorry, my favorite memory of him is when he won the
writing
title.
that down.
When he won the title, and they asked him what he was going to do after the fight, and he goes, "I'm going to go drink a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me enough." I mean, like he's good on the mic. This storyline is great for him. I love him versus Roman.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact they're unifying the belt. It's just like I said just a little bit ago. It's really fun to be a wrestling fan right now, and that's across Monday Night Raw, Thursday Night SmackDown, AEW. Ring of Honor's fixing to get ramped up. They got a pay-per-view this weekend, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Dallas.
Yep.
But MC and I were talking backstage before the show. Who do you think came up with the idea to split Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar? Do you think Brock had a hand in that, or do you think that came from higher up?
I think Brock. So I watched the Pat McAfee show like religiously, and
we got to teach that dude how to call the hogs. It's
okay. But
that was hard to sit through,
bro. He's a West Virginia Mountaineer. What do you expect?
Something a little bit better than that.
But he kind of said it himself. He was like, "This is something I've always wanted to do." As a professional wrestler, is kind of go out on his own. Now, early in his career, he went out on his own a little bit without Heyman, but that's where his career kind of turned and hit the fan when he walked out on the company, you know. So when he went to the NFL and everything like that, and that didn't pan out, so he goes to the UFC, and then he comes back and I think he came back in 2008, and then he came back in 2012, I believe. I think those are the two stints he came back, and he's consistently been back in the company since 2012. So you're at a 10-year run right now with Brock.
So would you still consider him a part-timer?
Not right now.
Because he said his MMA days are done.
Yeah. See, Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do. We all know this.
Because he's a free agent. He's a free agent like John Cena, isn't he?
I mean, kind of. But what, like I said, he does what he wants to do, and I think he's going to continue to do this whole wrestling thing until he gets sick of it. And honestly, it just seems like he loves it right now because he's able to be himself and enjoy it. And I urge you, if you're a wrestling fan, you're listening to us right now, go listen to his podcast with Pat McAfee and their whole hour-long discussion. He talked about things he does outside of wrestling. things he does with his family, why he grew his hair out.
Yeah, because his kid said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, like stuff like that. And he also talks about his career and what Vince McMahon means to him and everything like that. And it was really enjoyable to hear that perspective of Brock Lesnar because you've never heard it before.
Yeah. So moving on in the show, Kevin Owens, and I put this out there like this because of the way he did it last week, but Kevin Owens with this whole Stone Cold angle is becoming a master troll when it comes to the crowd. Mm-hmm. He is pulling this off perfectly. And I saw a post earlier today on social media where there's only a handful of people in the last 20 years that have been able to hold their own and do all of the promo work leading up to their match at WrestleMania. John Cena is one of them. Who's the other one? Shawn Michaels was one. And
anybody who's fought The Undertaker?
Well, yeah, basically anybody who fought The Undertaker.
CM Punk.
Yeah.
See, they didn't mention him, and I wonder why.
Well, I mean, maybe because he's not a WWE guy.
Same reason they didn't mention Bray Wyatt either, but I think Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt was one of them. One of them. He has done this masterfully, and again, he did it really well. It put a lot of emotion into it, where you really feel like he's really going to stomp a mud hole, or at least attempt to, in Stone Cold Saturday night.
That ain't happening in Texas, dude.
I know, but I mean, to anybody else though,
into a different stratosphere with his career though.
Yeah, but to anybody else that isn't a rock solid, who doesn't know Stone Cold like we know Stone Cold.
Everybody knows Stone Cold though.
Nah, you wouldn't know. Now, I wish that were true.
It is true. If you don't know who Stone Cold Steve Austin
I've met a few.
You're living under a rock, and I'm not talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Whoa, easy there, buddy. But it's going to be interesting.
I know a few women who would like to live under the rock. So,
hey-o.
Bingo, bango.
PG-13 podcast.
Bingo, bango. TVMA.
Zach, you were talking about we're after hours tonight, so there you go, man.
Hey, there we go. I mean,
we know The Rock loves pie.
Look, Wes is going to have a field day editing this thing, so it's, So another guy that has, and we're kind of running behind on our break here, but that's fine because we're still trying to figure this whole thing out.
We have time. I ain't going anywhere. I'm laying in my bed.
I didn't want to know that.
Yeah, that's okay. TMI.
That's a little too after dark.
Call me Valdez.
Oh dear, I'm gonna call you the Shock Master,
Big Daddy V.
That's nasty.
Oh Lord.
Another guy that is actually that is taking his character to a whole nother level is Seth Rollins, or should I say Seth freaking Rollins. He's gone from the Kingslayer to the Beast Slayer
to the Monday Night Messiah
to the Friday Night Savior to whatever the heck he is now. If I ever see him do that little jig on Vince's desk again, my head may come off.
That was hilarious.
That was
pretty funny. Yeah.
Okay. I got to say this, and I don't mean to keep interrupting y'all because
oh, you're good.
I'm amped to be a wrestling fan right now.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
I have never really liked Seth Rollins. I think he's a really good technical wrestler. But I never really got why he was so over for so long. But now I get it, and it's because he's able to adapt to whatever character they throw in front of him. And he's doing a fantastic job with this Seth freaking Rollins thing. And it's kind of if you're a comic book nerd or superhero nerd like me, you look at the Joker, and it's kind of a Joker-like character without
I didn't think about it that way.
Craziness, but
that's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't think about that way.
But yeah, I mean, like you go back to his match against Roman when he was just taking chair shot after chair shot after chair shot and just kept smiling at him. That's kind of when I started thinking, this is like eerie, similar to like the Joker's character in DC Comics.
When he went rogue and they broke the Shield up, I thought, what is going on? And now looking back and going from where he was, and same thing with Roman. Roman was terrible on the mic. Terrible on the mic right after he left the Shield.
Yeah,
And
he
then
had that. If you remember that one promo where he was trying to go head to head with Cena, and Cena just dogged him out in front of the world. He's like, "It's all right, kid, you'll get it." You know,
Okay, I was live. That was here in Memphis.
that was in Memphis.
That
Oh my
was in
gosh.
Memphis.
I forgot
will
about
never
that.
Forget sitting there looking at my dad, and I'm like, John Cena is grilling this kid
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
And Cena's notorious for that. And he didn't do it because he hates the people that he did it to. He
He's
did
doing
it
it to
so
put
they
him
would
over.
understand that they're getting a
Mhm.
push, and they have to push themselves to this next level.
right.
But the entire crowd, we were all like, "What the hell?" Like,
Mhm.
John
Yeah,
Cena
I remember
just
that. Yeah.
ended this dude's life in front of 18,000 people.
I was sitting there at my house watching this, and I'm just going, there's not going to be anything left of Roman
So,
after
fun
this.
fact, and
Holy
I don't mean to like
crap.
brag about like Memphis, but I mean we know how the Memphis wrestling scene is. Y'all have grown up like in the
Absolutely.
area, so y'all understand it.
Well, see, being in Central Arkansas, you kind of get hung between Memphis Championship Wrestling and the old Dallas Sportatorium Wrestling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, and Mid-South Wrestling as well, based out of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about when WWE comes to Memphis is there are some just great moments
Mhm.
that come out of this city from the live events that they do here. So you had Daniel Bryan's Yes takeover the Monday before WrestleMania.
Mhm.
That was
It
here.
was
Occupy
also a
Raw.
Monday Night Raw go home
Yeah,
show.
you had Cena's.
I was at that one.
Cena
Yeah.
tagged with Sting on a Monday Night
I
Raw.
was at that one too. Yep.
And then you have Cena's promo. I mean, you've had a lot of great moments come out of Memphis, and I think WWE does a very good job at booking that because they know the type of crowd they have when they get here.
Mhm.
Because 98% of the crowd understands wrestling, and we get it.
Yes.
So, and I think that's most places in the South as well because it's such a big. I mean, it's a homestay for Southerners. Like,
Right.
we all enjoy watching professional wrestling. I don't care if it's scripted or not; it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you
We only have
this.
so much to do when football's not on TV.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'll tell you this. Sports entertainment is one thing, but I can promise you now, and this is not wrestling fan Zach talking to you. This is a real life look, dude. You can tell when something's fake. Chris Rock slap. Wrestling ain't fake. Not all
That
of
was
it.
100% real.
That now you and I are going to go back and forth on this bomb.
We'll do it another day. We could do a
Yeah.
whole podcast on
We
it.
can do another
you
podcast.
do
Yeah,
a show on that. Yeah.
yeah, we can do a whole. But these the finish is scripted, yes, and there have been several wrestlers that have come out and said, yeah, that is scripted. Everybody knows that. Everything in between is not.
When Jerry Lawler slapped Andy Kaufman on national television, that wasn't scripted.
No. And speaking of one last thing before I make my next move, how big of a pop is Cody Rhodes going to get on Saturday night?
It
Sunday
depends
night.
on what his walkout music is.
Stardust.
If it's Stardust, I think he'll get a massive pop. If it's the Smoke and Mirrors or whatever, I think it's just going to be this guy.
What if it's Legacy?
If they
That's an
bring Ted
interesting one
DiBiase
there.
Jr. in with him, that'd be incredible.
That would be interesting. That would be a swerve that nobody sees coming because everybody's either expecting Stardust or the American Nightmare. Nobody expects Legacy. Now the question is, if they come back with the Legacy angle, does Cody have his pedophile mustache?
Let him use Dusty's music. Bring him out.
Extreme.
That's hallowed ground right there.
I was gonna say that's hallowed ground. Last note on Monday Night Raw: Roman, as always, getting better every week. Every week behind the mic.
Acknowledge your tribal chief.
Now
Paul Heyman. Let's go back to him for a second.
he's
You
oh
want
my
to
god,
talk
he was
about working
hilarious.
wonders on a person's career?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah.
don't think, besides Brock, I don't think he's ever single-handedly helped one wrestler's career more than he's helped Roman Reigns in the
I would
last
agree.
year
Yeah.
and a half.
Yeah.
And not only that, so I've had the honor to meet Paul Heyman. Super nice guy, and we were outside of the hotel here in Memphis, and I was talking to him, and every single wrestler that came up to the hotel either walked up to him, gave him a hug, shook his hand, asked him how he was doing. And that's the type of person that he is, because he invests everything into this company, even though, and also it talks about the type of person he is, because Vince McMahon did everything he could to destroy the company that Paul Heyman built.
ECW.
He did destroy it.
Yeah.
Then he had Paul come work for him, and Paul Heyman took it like a man. And this is what a true man would do. Took it like a man, came into this guy's company and said, I'm going to make your product better because I'm here to help you make it better. And Paul Heyman is just, when that guy goes away or retires or whatever happens to him, and I think he'll be with the company until the day he's not on this earth anymore.
I think it'll end up like Percy Pringle, Bill Moody.
Yeah.
He'll go until he can't anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a sad day when he's not around to help with the WWE, and hopefully by that time Triple H is healthy enough to be able to start running things on his own, and hopefully Vince is not phased out, because I always want Vince to be involved while he's around, and he's never not going to be involved.
Is it just me?
He'll be involved in the afterlife.
but is it just me, or did he look a little rough in that promo with Seth Rollins?
He did, because he sleeps an hour and 30 minutes a night.
Yeah.
He looked rough.
Yeah, he's on that Will Ferrell and Elf sleep schedule. He gets a full 40 minutes every night. But that Vince has been that way for 30, 40 years. I've listened to, Bruce Pritchard's podcast and several others, and they all talk about that Vince hates sleep because he feels like he's wasting time that he could be working on something. Now I get that, and kudos to him, but man, I like my sleep. I got to have a little bit more than, an hour and a half, 2 hours a night, especially now.
But this guy built an empire and became a self-made billionaire.
Yeah, I'm not a self-made billionaire.
Not resting and doing everything the way he needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, final thoughts here on WWE before we go to break. WrestleMania is Saturday and Sunday, but the thing is you've got the lead up from SmackDown. You've got the Hall of Fame Friday night. You've got, of course, WrestleMania Saturday night and Sunday. Then you've got the Raw following.
Poor Rampage is not going to have any ratings this week.
No. And you've got 4 days straight of WWE programming, which I think is brilliant on Vince's part.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the big storylines that you're looking for? And Bum, I posed this question to MC before the show started. But if they unify the two titles, which, by the way, you can see what we believe is the new title outside of AT&T Stadium. If you're in the Dallas area this weekend, they've got a big mock-up of it outside the stadium. It's real pretty. Looks just like the WWE Championship with splashes of red and blue posted in their bum. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it. But give me one storyline that you think is going to grow from this, and why you think that's going to happen.
One storyline that's going to grow from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious pick would be Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
Just because of his return to WWE, and him hopefully being a guy that's looked at as a A-plus player who gets a fair shot and gets a title run. But I'm going to go with a I guess it'd be my second option. I'm going to go with AJ Styles and Edge.
See, I think that match there
I'm excited to see.
Has gotten pushed to the back burner.
Phenomenal One goes after this. I hope they push him towards the belt. He deserves it. I mean, that you want to talk about the ultimate professional. AJ Styles is that guy.
Yes.
But also, I'm excited to see what they do with Edge post WrestleMania Edge, where he's in this just heelish. I don't really know what Edge is. You know, I don't know if he's a heel or if he's a face or if he's in the middle. Nobody really knows right now. But I'm excited to see this AJ. I guess it's a babyface run. I'd love to see him get pushed towards the title, or at least be able to contend for a title. I'm also excited to see where RK Bro is going to be.
I said one, bum.
Bold prediction here. They lose the belts at WrestleMania to the Street Profits.
Okay.
And Riddle turns on Randy.
I could see that. Yeah.
You think Riddle's going to turn on Randy? You don't think Randy's going to turn on Riddle?
I don't think Randy turns on Riddle. I think Riddle turns on Randy.
Okay. All right. MC, what about you, man?
Yeah, as I'm fighting camera problems here,
you're good.
I'm anxious to see if they end up doing anything. You know, they've teased Rock versus Roman. So if Roman comes out on top against Brock Lesnar and
the next headline.
Head of the table. Okay. Well, I'm segueing in perfectly. That's where do they go with Roman? Because if he goes over on Brock, you pretty much have no choice but to go where everybody's been wanting it to go. But if Brock happens to go over him, what then?
Yeah.
You know, how do you make it work?
And, you know, they've been talking about this Roman Rock match for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
I think now is a good time to do it because I think WrestleMania is in LA next year, isn't it?
I think so. I think that's right.
Okay. So here's a scenario for you, and Bum, you're the resident expert here. You've got the most knowledge. So let me put on my writer's cap and see what you think. Rock and Roman Lesnar and Roman go at it. Roman wins. He's over here. Acknowledge me. I'm the tribal chief. Next thing you hear is, if you smell.
I think you see that Monday. I think you see that Monday.
You don't think it's going to be a bigger pop at WrestleMania?
I think they save that for Monday. I think they hide it from everybody. I mean, there's 110,000 people at WrestleMania this year. I think it's hard to hide Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from 110,000 people.
Very true.
Yeah.
Once you get into American Airlines Arena and you get in that smaller center, that's when you can get him in after everybody's already in the building in an unmarked car or whatever, and sneak him in and get that big pop. I'm keeping eyes on that. I mean, Dave Meltzer, I think I sent it to y'all this morning. He has announced that they have huge plans for DJ and at WrestleMania 39, which is in LA. So Hollywood, I mean, what better place for him to headline a WrestleMania?
It's Veer and The Rock at WrestleMania 39.
Do what?
It's Veer and The Rock at WrestleMania 39.
Yeah, Veer and The Rock.
Yeah. We'll still be vignettes about Veer is coming when we get to WrestleMania 39.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, they did put a date on him of the Raw after Mania.
Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah,
on the 4th.
What I think will happen is I think Cody will beat Seth, and then I think Cody will do a promo, and Veer will come out and try to jump Cody. I think that's what they're going to throw them into.
I can see that.
I think you're right on that.
I think that's the smartest thing for WWE to do.
MC, do we have any AEW news this week? I didn't see anything.
Not really. The biggest thing coming up is that yeah, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead, MC.
Okay. I was just going to point out that the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament qualifier begins Wednesday night. That's a tournament that's going to go on for the next several weeks and culminate around, if I'm not mistaken here, the finals of it are going to be somewhere around the anniversary of Owen's death. if I have timed this out right and I've read everything right on this. But there's also supposed to be, they're building up that someone is going to debut. The Bunny is supposed to be opening up at the first qualifier match against a mystery opponent. I think the mystery opponent is someone that is newly signed to All Elite that they haven't announced yet. I think it's going to be Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon.
She sucked in WWE. She's going to suck in AEW.
Just a feeling I have based on what I've seen of some Twitter activity. She's been having some Twitter spats with Jade Cargill and some of the other AEW women. So I think it's a foregone conclusion that Athena is going to be make her debut against the Bunny, because the Bunny's not going to move deep into this tournament. She's basically a valet that has a little bit of in-ring skill. That's no disrespect to her, but that's just what she is. And, Tony Khan has made it known that, right now, I mean, he's smart. He's a smart businessman. He knows this is WrestleMania season. They're not really going to try to go head to head against WrestleMania with anything. So I think the biggest thing you'll see is the beginning of this Owen Hart Foundation tournament, which is enormously huge, because Owen's widow had once said that, she would never be involved with professional wrestling of any kind because of what happened with Owen and the way he tragically died. But, as time moves on, people's opinions change. And plus, she's not with the same company. So she might be, if she's still bitter, this might be a way for her to kind of stick it to WWE a little bit. So I'm very interested in this tournament. I will watch women's wrestling. I've become a bigger fan since AEW started because I like their approach a little better. The DMD Thunder Rosa match, still from 2 weeks ago, people are still talking about it, myself included. I thought it was great. But this tournament, I'll be interested to see what they do with this tournament and who comes out of that as the overall champion.
All right. Have we heard from our UFC insider yet?
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen him, but I got some AEW backstage stuff that's been going on. So,
all right, hit me.
Andy, your UFC guy, he'll know who Ariel Helwani is. Y'all might know who he is. I'm not sure.
Mustafa Ali?
No. Ariel Helwani. He's a journalist for the MMA. He does the MMA Hour.
Yeah.
And he also covers WWE for, I believe it's BC Sports over in England, even though he's based out of New York. He had Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, on his podcast this past week, which was an awesome interview. MJF is just, he's 26 years. He's my age, and he's on top of the wrestling world right now. Mm-hmm. But there was some heat between Tony Khan and MJF because there wasn't clearance for MJF to go on this podcast. And MJF basically went on this podcast saying, look, I'm open to discussing free agency. I'm not signing with anybody until 2024. I know how much I'm worth. I know how much y'all are going to have to pay me to get me to go to. And he said he is a fan of the WWE product all the way from NXT 2.0 to SmackDown to Raw. He talked about individual WWE guys. He talked about Vince.
Way to slap Tony Khan in the face.
Talked about his relationship with Bruce Pritchard, everything like that. And understandably so, Tony Khan was pissed off about it. But
rightfully so, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, rightfully so. But also, Tony, apparently they've squashed it now. Look, you're not going to put MJF in trouble. He is literally everything that's good about AEW right now.
He's the best heel they've got. By far the best heel.
MC, I think he might be the best heel in all of wrestling right now.
He may be, man. I think there's an argument there.
Don't get me wrong, Roman is just killing the game, but I think MJF is right there with him.
Yeah, I think MJF, especially on the mic, he could hold his own with Roman.
Absolutely.
What a dream match that would be, MJF and Roman Reigns.
I think it'd be fun. I'd rather see AJ versus MJF. I think
yes.
That one would be a good one.
Incredible. But and Adam Cole's going to go face eventually. I'd love to see Adam Cole versus MJF. CM Punk and MJF. That match was just unbelievable.
That was awesome.
That was great.
But yeah, shout out to that guy. He's going to get paid a lot of money in January 1st of 2024. And I think Tony Khan knows that, look, like, that's my guy. He helped build this. We're going to have to pay him.
Yeah.
But he did make it known that WWE is 100% on the table for him.
Yep. All right, I think we've covered WWE and AEW enough for one show. We're going to be introducing a new segment when we come back. This is not going to be an every week thing unless there is a
make it every week. I love some MMA.
Well, we're gonna make sure that those schedules align first and that there's enough to talk about first. So, making his Falls Count Anywhere debut is our UFC infighter Andy Manis. When we come back, he's gonna take us to school because I don't know about you, Bum, but me and MC don't know jack the first thing about it in UFC. So
I'm just a nerd. I watch everything.
So hang with us. You're watching the Falls Count Anywhere show on the 4-Star Sports Radio Network. Back in a minute. All right, welcome back to Falls Count Anywhere inside the Sidecar Cafe Studios, or Arena Studios, whatever you want to call it. We're using wrestling terms for this show.
This is the arena, baby.
And we are ringside. I am Zach ZK Kerr, your MC Marcus Carlton, and bottom of the screen is the bum, Brandon Bumgarner. All right, guys, so I'm going to be honest with you.
Hey, y'all have nicknames. Can I give myself a nickname? Well, I mean, people call me this already, but like,
I don't care.
It's Bumg or Bum. Just call me Bum.
I like Bum. I don't do the whole Bum G. That just doesn't fit.
Well, it absolutely fits for everybody else I know, but Bum is okay too.
All right, that's gonna get some getting used to. But yeah, no, we'll call you Bum. I call you Bum all the time. What are you talking about? Anyway, so I don't know the first thing about UFC. I know you just beat the crap out of somebody in an octagon. That's pretty much it until they, are lifeless in the ring. I know a handful of wrestler fighters, but Bryce Mitchell's probably top of the list. So I had MC reach into his bag of tricks.
Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, future champ Bryce Mitchell. I had MC reach out to his mini contacts, and I said, all right, dude, I need somebody to school me on UFC. And so we have our brand new UFC insider, Andy Manis, joining the show for the first time. Andy, school us on UFC, because we're all wrestling guys here.
Part
You're on mute, Andy. Oh, there you go.
Okay, there we go. My bad. Technology. We've only been doing this for like 2 years, so
Right?
No, wrestling is a huge part of MMA. I think that's why you see so many MMA guys transition successfully into the world of wrestling after their
Gable Stevenson.
I heard you guys talking about Brock Lesnar earlier, obviously, and he's one of the more famous ones. There's a lot of overlap. Yeah, Ronda Rousey. Yeah, she's definitely up there now, right? So, and then of course you've got. I heard you guys also mention CM Punk. He kind of took the reverse route, but I don't think it's working out so well for him.
Should I show my age, MC, to Andy and say a Kimbo Slice?
Kimbo, so that's not showing your age at all, man.
Oh,
Kimbo
Kimbo's
Slice
the man.
was
Was the man.
he was,
Was
the
the
man.
man.
Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
man. I mean, and he was whooping people old school style, just whooping their ass in the backyard with no shoes on.
The one Kimbo Slice fight I saw, I think it was like on CBS or Fox or something many years ago. And I don't know this dude that he was fighting. He had pink hair. They rang the bell, and this dude with pink hair just started wailing on Kimbo and ended up losing the
So-
fight. I mean,
Funny story about that fight. The guy, I can't remember that guy's name for the life of me, but he was like a 10,000 plus 10,000 like underdog to win that fight.
yes.
And
they were
he
talking
knocked
up-
Kimbo out in like 5 seconds. It
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
It was like the Conor McGregor fight a couple of years back where he just kept
Against
throwing
Aldo when he knocked.
Yeah.
You're thinking of the.
It was he threw like
Cowboy
7
fight.
shoulders. Yeah, the Cowboy
Yeah,
fight.
you're
Cowboy
thinking of
Donald
Cowboy.
Cerrone. Yeah, that was he you got to be innovative sometime there when you're in the octagon, and that's certainly one way to get it done. And then I think of other things that guys have done, like Kamaru Usman the first time he fought Jorge Masvidal, which that's certainly something we can get into. But I don't know if you guys caught any of that, but he was just stomping on his toes up against the cage, and that's you don't see that often, but it's legal in MMA, and so that's certainly an effective way to take your opponent off of his feet, or gain a little ground on him, so to speak. So, but yeah, it's a great sport. I think I found myself really getting more into MMA whenever ESPN took over the broadcast rights, because before, like Fox and Spike TV, it was on all those channels, and I was just more of a kind of a casual observer. But once it was on ESPN, something that's pretty much in our daily lives as sports fans, I think I started to give it more attention. And you can watch pretty much every single weekend now if you have an ESPN Plus subscription, which there's no fights this weekend. This is an off weekend for the UFC, but we do have a huge pay-per-view coming up. Not, like I said, not this weekend, but next Saturday. So
UFC 274, correct?
273.
273. Got you.
Yep.
I'm a month ahead. Andy, I got a question for you. What fight or fighters got you into the UFC? What made you kind of fall in love with watching the sport?
Oh man, definitely the first couple of guys that come to mind: Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. Just seeing him knock somebody out while backpedaling, and it's the first time I've ever seen that before. Like literally kind of backing up from a guy and just dodges a punch and just reaches out there. This is an audio medium. I don't know why I'm kind of doing visualizations here, but yeah, Chuck Liddell is one of them. I think Anderson Spider Silva is another one that's definitely top of mind, because that man, if you are just a casual MMA fan, do yourself a favor and go look up some Anderson Silva fights, because that will pique your interest, because that man would fight people with his hands down and just basically dare them to come at him. And he was a counter fighter. That's how he beat you, was he would counter everything you threw at him. And unfortunately, he's one of those fighters that we saw age catch up to him, as it does all of us, unless your name's Tom Brady. And then, I think as we transition into some of the newer fights, I mean, I could go on and on with some of the fights I remember from, like I said, watching on Spike TV. They used to do those compilations, you know what I mean, where they would just be like,
pay-per-views all together.
Yeah, exactly. So those kinds of things, Mirko Crow Cop, I can't ever say his name. Andre Arlovsky, I remember those two fought, and that was a crazy match. I mean, there's just a lot. There are a lot. I could spend a lot of time on that.
So for me personally, when I was in 8th grade, UFC 209 was hosted here in Memphis. It was BJ Penn and Diego Sanchez, two just absolute legends of the sport. I didn't get to go, but I got to watch it on TV. I know a lot of people that went, and I'm in 7th or 8th grade, and all I remember is everybody at school was talking about how they went to the fights or how they watched the fights and really enjoyed it, and that got me triggered. I mean, I already enjoyed it at that point because Brock was fighting, in the UFC by that time. And being a professional wrestling fan, like I love Brock Lesnar, but I think the one person who really got me into MMA in general was Quentin Rampage Jackson, because he's from
because he's from
Memphis, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
I support anything and everything that comes out of this city. I love that guy. Not only was he just a complete badass. He's a great
He was,
fighter.
yeah.
He's a great fighter, but like he's hilarious too. Like, I mean, you can go back and watch some of his interviews and stuff like that. He was awesome, but I guess not really recent, but in the modern era of the UFC, I think the first fight that really got me hooked, and I guess it's the Patriot in me. I really loved watching Chris Weidman go out there and just knock out Anderson Silva while he was dodging around, dancing, acting like, oh, I got this in the bag. And Chris Weidman just says,
Yep.
right on the chin.
He was one of the ones that actually caught Silva.
Yeah.
Like I said, Anderson Silva was an amazing fighter. He was definitely pound for pound one of the greatest fighters to ever be in the UFC, in my opinion. And like I said, age just kind of caught up to him. Chris Weidman caught up to him, and then he had that terrible leg injury.
Yeah, the second fight against Weidman when his leg snapped in half, man.
That was just
that was nasty.
I
even saw that. That was nasty.
Weidman's getting over that exact same injury himself right now.
You talking about the leg break?
Yes. Yeah, the leg break.
That was nasty.
Bro, his leg wrapped around the other Weidman's leg. Like, it was unbelievable. And 10 years later, Chris Weidman is in the same situation against a young fighter, and he goes for a leg kick, snaps his leg around the other guy's leg. I mean,
I want to say, was it not Anderson Silva that he did that against?
No, it wasn't Anderson. It was.
I feel like Anderson Silva also broke someone else's leg similarly.
Hold on,
but that might be true. It is Anderson Silva.
Yeah. So, but I also, one of the things that I think that really kind of also got me into the sport was during the beginning of the pandemic, when we were all kind of struggling to find stuff to do, when we're all having to stay inside our houses, was I went back and watched, like, they put the first 10 UFC events on ESPN Plus, and y'all, that mess was crazy, because it's not like today's UFC. It was an actual, like, Dragon Ball Z style, we're going to all fight each other in one day tournament.
It was the dude my size fighting the dude's West's size. But the MC and Zach. It was a 5'4" guy against.
I have seen some of that. I mean,
yeah. That's a visualization I don't think I want again.
Guys,
it was wild. Yeah.
It was incredible. And the craziest part about it is, for those of you that don't know, a guy named Hoist Gracie. He is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu. His family invented Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm not making that up. They are literally the inventors of that, like, branch of martial art. And he fought in a tournament, and like he always brought his family with him. He always had I'm pretty sure his dad was the one that created Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think jiu-jitsu is traditionally a Japanese martial art, and somehow the Gracie family kind of made it their own. But so he would enter these tournaments, and he would fight guys that 2-3 times his size, but with Brazilian jiu-jitsu, nobody had ever seen that before, ever had to, because these guys weren't like today's mixed martial artists. That was one of the premises of the original UFC, was they wanted to take all of these different fighters from these different fighting styles. So you had a boxer versus a karate fighter, and like the boxer would go out there and he had his gloves on, and he immediately lost because he could not do anything with his hands. So, but you had that eventually Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of like showed to be one of the more dominant forms of martial arts because nobody knew how to defend against it at the time. So now you've got guys who kind of specialize in it, and they teach you how to, make sure you don't get choked out and that type of thing. But yeah,
Well,
Royce Gracie,
for most everybody
listening,
MMA now or UFC, because that's it, we're basically going to exclusively cover the UFC as far as MMA is concerned, unless Jake Paul and Conor McGregor fight each other in an octagon outside of
I don't know
the
about all
UFC.
that.
But so the UFC is basically just it's a melting pot of all martial arts. It goes all the way from amateur wrestling to Brazilian jiu-jitsu to karate to kickboxing. I mean, and all these guys are experts at their crafts, except for Jorge Masvidal, who's just a street fighter. I mean, that dude's he's a gangster. I mean, dude walked in a club and knocked Colby Covington's teeth out.
So it's really funny that you bring him up again with talking about Kimbo Slice, because Kimbo Slice actually introduced Jorge Masvidal kind of to the UFC more or less. Yep. He kind of brought him into those local fight rings in Miami and got him started. And so that's a really interesting backyard in there. Yeah, all of those backyard brawls and things like that, those were the things that Jorge was doing before, he got into the UFC, and he was doing them with Kimbo Slice. So yeah, they were definitely he was kind of a mentor to Jorge Masvidal. But yeah, that whole situation is really interesting. I mean, I've got a lot I could say about that because they used to
Andy,
be,
you and I might have to go live one day and talk about it soon.
Yeah, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. So, Andy, give us the match card for next Saturday, where they can watch it, where they can find it. Give us your favorites as we're wrapping up here.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, the next weekend is going to be it's going to be a good fight card, but it's one that is, in my opinion, is going to be favorite heavy. And what I mean by that is I really the guys that are favorited, I think that they're a pretty safe bet to win this weekend. So the main I'll kind of work my way from bottom to top here. Gilbert Burns versus Kazmat Kimyev. I don't know how to say his last name. I call him Kazmat. That's what everybody else calls him. But Kazmat has been Chimaev, yeah, he's been rolling over everybody. He's 10-0 right now. He is facing Gilbert Burns, who looks like he should pound for pound be one of the best fighters. Like aesthetically, he looks like the perfect fighter. Like he is jacked. I don't know how he walks around at whatever weight he walks around, because he looks like he's about 50 pounds heavier than that. But he was one of the top fighters, but he kind of got exposed in a title fight by the current champion, Kamaru Usman. If he couldn't handle Kamaru Usman, I don't think he's going to be able to handle Kazmat. Nobody has been able to handle Kazmat. So I would say that's a pretty safe bet. And I would also say maybe put your money on submission there, because Kazmat is of that Khabib like school of wrestling and MMA. If you guys know anything about Khabib Nurmagomedov, I don't know how to say his last name, so we're just going to call him Khabib. So Bum can help me out here, but I would say that betting on submission is a pretty safe bet for Kazmat this weekend. So there's another title fight. It is a title unification fight between Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan. Again, not sure how to say his last name, but this is a really interesting fight. The reason it's a title unification fight, Peter Yan was the champion, but he lost it via disqualification in a fight against Aljamain Sterling. Peter Yan was winning the fight, and he he totally intentionally kneed Aljamain Sterling in the head while Sterling was down.
In the head with his hand on the mat.
Yeah, and so for those of you that don't know UFC, you cannot knee or kick your opponent in the head when they have a hand or a knee on the mat. You cannot do that that's considered striking a downed opponent with your knee or foot. And so he totally did that intentionally, lost the title that way. Well, Aljamain Sterling got injured, and so he had to vacate the title, and Peter Yan won the interim championship in a fight against Corey Sandhagen the last time he fought. So, but I'm going to say Peter Yan. Peter Yan is the favorite by a lot right now. I'm going to say that's also a pretty safe bet because he was dominating that first fight against Aljamain Sterling before he kneed the guy in the head. So, plus this is the first fight for Aljamain Sterling back after an injury. He injured his neck, and I'm pretty sure he had to have surgery too. Don't quote me on that, but he again couldn't fight.
I believe
and
he had a fusion surgery on his neck. I think you're correct.
So yeah, Peter Yan is Peter Yan can stroke. He can. He's got some power for a little guy. So to me, that's a pretty safe bet. And then the main event of the evening is a title fight between Alexander Volkanovski and the Korean Zombie. This, in my opinion, is going to go like not well for the Korean Zombie. He is going to be like not the undead anymore. He might just be dead. Really, this is a really interesting fight though for me because Alexander Volkanovski, there is not really another contender to fight for that title right now outside of Max Holloway. Volkanovski and Max Holloway have already fought twice. They were both really close fights. Max Holloway lost both, and I really thought Max Holloway won the second fight. And I think that this is like a tune-up fight, if you will, for Volkanovski getting ready for a third matchup for Max Holloway. And that's going to be crazy. But Volkanovski is like a favorite. He's negative 700 odds right now for him against Korean Zombie. Korean Zombie has only had 5 fights the last 4 years, and 2 of those fights were against people who are like almost 40, which I'm not trying to say that's old, but for UFC age, that's old.
Wow. His first show, and I'm going to fire him already.
Era is the champion right now, Andy. Come on.
2 of his fights were against Dan Ige. 2 of his fights were against Dan Ige and Frankie Edgar. And like Frankie Edgar is a name like that goes way back to like the Spike TV days. So
MC, I may have to go get my walker after that comment.
I'm sorry, guys. My bad. But okay, so check this out. If you want to do a little sports betting this weekend, I've got a 4-pick parlay for you. And I put it in on DraftKings, and it's around like plus 100. So you can basically like double your money if you don't know what the odds are, or if you're not familiar with what that means. But I would say bet on Volkanovski, bet on Peter Yan, bet on Kazmat, and I'm going to throw this one in. This is one of the undercards. It's one of the prelims. There's a fight between Jairzinho Rosenstrunk and Marcin Tybura. This is going to be like a coin flip match, but
that is.
I think bet on Rosenstrunk because Rosenstrunk. I don't know how to say his last name.
Hey, Andy's doing a good name.
Bet on
good
that
job
guy.
with these names.
Right? Doing better than the 3 of us would have done it.
Yeah.
Here's why I want you to bet on this guy, because he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but the 3 fighters that he's lost to are the current champion, the guy who the current champion just beat, and a guy who's about to probably fight the champion the next championship bout. So I think he's got a lot of power, and if he catches this guy, it's not going to go well for him. So, but also don't come find me if you like bet on this and it doesn't go well for you.
It's for entertainment purposes only, right?
Entertainment purposes only. So, what's up?
Real quick to chime back in on the Volkanovski comment. So, for perspective for people, the reason Korean Zombie is going to go back to being, the undead. Is Volkanovski used to walk around at 280 pounds, and he's
a rugby player, right?
Yes. That guy weighs 140. He'll weigh 145 on weigh-ins. So you're thinking he cut more than half his body weight to become an MMA fighter.
Oh my God.
That dude possesses some of the hardest punches I've ever seen in my life.
Not just that, but if you go back to that first match that he had with Max Holloway, he tore Holloway's legs up. Those like short leg kicks, absolutely they will tear you up. They don't look like they hurt, but I mean, if you get hit that many times, that's man. Yeah, you're going to need a wheelchair to get out of the arena.
Man, I feel like I've just been to school, and I
Yeah.
feel like I just failed another class.
I hope I got you ready
You'll
for
learn
next
over
weekend.
time. You'll learn over time.
We're not going to go there, though. Oh, my goodness. We are out of time. Andy, man, I appreciate you coming on to the show. Hopefully, this is not the last time we see you.
Hopefully.
MC, Bum, y'all got any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight?
No,
Nah, man,
just watch WrestleMania this weekend. Enjoy your weekends. Have a great time. I mean, and I know a lot of us will probably tune into that UNC Duke game before WrestleMania.
Mhm.
If you're going out and you're drinking, have a good time, but don't drive. Be
Uber.
safe. Be responsible with what you do. And just enjoy your weekend, y'all. We'll be back next week, and I'm happy. I'm enjoying this podcast, guys. I really am. Or the show. Excuse me. This isn't a podcast. It's a show.
Call it
Love
whatever. Call it whatever we want. We call it sports entertainment if we want to. Oh wait, we can't say that term. Programming note for those of you that are fans of 4-Star Sports Media: I am officially on vacation starting tomorrow. So your boy MC is going to
I
be
got a major announcement in a second.
So MC is going to be taking the host chair on Friday night. There will be an Inside the Hog Pen. Don't worry, Bum's over here somewhere, but don't worry, MC's going to do just fine. I've got every faith in him. He is my backup for a reason. Other than that, Wes might kick us off the air after this week. We don't know yet. Nah, I'm just kidding. But big thanks to Andy Manis for coming on the show, being our UFC insider. Bum, do you have your announcement? You said you had one coming. Do you have one?
We do have a major announcement.
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, my goodness. It happened during the show.
For those that are listening, Wes and I have filed the LLC for 4-Star Sports Media. We are now an official business. We are now 4-Star Sports Media LLC.
Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. We're very happy.
They're slave drivers. Don't let them lie to you.
We've done a lot of work over the last year and a half, getting this to where we want it to be. And the sky's the limit from here. Sports media in general is just booming. The sports world is booming. We're glad to have all three of you guys involved right now. Zach, especially you, for helping run everything behind the scenes and doing what you do, MC. Thank you for recently coming on with Zach and being a part of 4-Star Sports Media. We appreciate you. And even Andy tonight, first-time guy. Hopefully we can get you around a little bit more.
Yeah,
I don't know that 40-year-old comment he made.
Andy and I've been working together for like 10 years, and so I'm used to the old dad comments, So
Marcus is like my big brother, so
we're truly blessed to be where we are right now. We wouldn't be here without any of our listeners, which are the people right now that are listening to all of us. Wes and I are just extremely grateful. And the sky's the limit for 4-Star Sports Media LLC.
It's go time, Bum. What do I always say? What's next?
Well, what do I always say? Old Mo is your best friend. Momentum. We got a lot of it right now.
Well, that's not what you told me earlier today, but we're not going to go there. All right, that is going to do it for us on the Falls Count Anywhere show from the Sidecar Cafe Arena. I am Zach ZK Kerr. He is MC Marcus Carlton, and of course, Brandon Bumgarner, and the new guy. He's not really a new guy. You might see him again. Andy Manis, our UFC insider. Until Friday night, so long, everybody.